I've decided to do a series on why you're still single. So, if you're a girl or a guy that is single at the moment and you're wondering, why am I single? This is definitely for you. I was in an abusive relationship. I came out of that relationship feeling like I was nothing. It affected my relationship with people, with my friends. I couldn't have friends anymore. I went through it myself. If you just came out of an abusive relationship right now, do yourself a favor to not get into another relationship right now. You need to cut the abuser out of your life. Literally flash them down the toilet every day. You're going on Instagram stalking him. You've become an expert in stalking now. The power is in your hand. Are you a victim or are you a survivor? A survivor is somebody who tells himself, yes, this happened to me, but I conquered. I came out strong. You're a survivor. And if you don't believe that about yourself, I'm telling you today, you are a survivor. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing okay. I'm doing well by God's grace. If you're new here, hey, welcome to my channel. My name is Sergine and my channel is about motivating people becoming the best version of themselves. So please subscribe, like, share. I'm sure you're not going to be disappointed with my content. Also follow me on my social media platforms so we can keep in contact, and don't forget to turn on your notifications so that you're notified every time I'm posting a video. So this week's topic that we're going to cover on why you are still single is healing from past relationships, specifically abusive relationships. As I've mentioned before, if you're one of my followers and you've been watching all my videos, by the way, thank you so much for everyone who's subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I appreciate the feedback too, the people who are actually messaging me, taking the time to message me privately on Instagram, on Facebook, those who have my number. Everyone messaging me, giving me a feedback on how my channel is doing or how, they've been blessed with one thing or another. Let me just say, I appreciate you guys so much. I mean, I always respond with how much I appreciate it, but I think I'm going to just say it again because I can never say thank you enough. Thank you so much, guys, for the support, for just taking your time out to write me a message, an encouragement, or even a feedback on something that you've seen wrong. Like, I've got people who are actually telling me, look, sis, this link is not working. I'm not able to reshare your link. Can you go and make it public? I appreciate all of that. Anyways, let's go straight into the video. Now, if you're one of my subscribers and you've watched my content and the past few content that I've posted, this will not be a shock. You would know that I was in a relationship and this relationship was such an abusive relationship. I came out of that relationship feeling like I was nothing. That relationship really affected me. It affected the way I looked at myself. My confidence dropped. I didn't have a high self-esteem, no self-confidence. It really crushed me. It affected my spirit. It crushed my spirit. It affected my relationship with God. I was far away from God. It affected my relationship with people, with my friends. I couldn't have friends anymore because any friend I had was a bad influence. Any male friend I had was my boyfriend. It was just a whole lot. So I'm not talking from somebody who just watched or somebody who heard a story about somebody who experienced an abusive relationship. I went through it myself. So I know what I'm talking about. I've experienced it. I've worn the shoe. I know where it hurts. I've worn the t-shirt. So I definitely know what it feels like when you come out of an abusive relationship. And I'm also aware that this really affects you in the future. It affects the way you see yourself. It affects you moving forward and dating other people. You begin to date people that are not even on your standard, people that, you never imagine you would date. You downgrade yourself. And sometimes we keep dating the same people. Once you've experienced an abusive relationship, some people actually keep dating people who abuse them, which is why you're probably single right now, because you keep, ending up with the people that are not deserving of your love, that are not deserving of your time, that do not deserve you because, you simply forgot who you are. You've simply forgotten your strength. You've simply forgotten your qualities. because you dated somebody that crushed your spirit. So if that's you, this video is definitely for you, because we're going to dig deep and we're going to definitely find out how to come out of it so that it doesn't affect our choices of moving forward, so that you can prepare yourself and heal yourself so you can attract the right people in your life. So it's very, very important for you not to only heal, but to evaluate your past relationships and understand why they didn't work or why you were abused, especially if you end up with the same type of people that keep on abusing you. If you were to evaluate your past 3 relationships and the common trait is that you were abused, I want to encourage you to really evaluate that. Not just because you want to heal, but for you to also understand that what you're doing wrong, what you're contributing, like for you to understand, why is it that I keep attracting these people coming into my life and abusing me? And by the way, it's not only us females that experience abuse. Men go through this too. The difference is that they don't speak up just because of how the society has made it. The society wants a guy to be strong. But some men out here definitely experience, abusive relationships too. So this is not just going to be on females, it's also going to be for guys too. I got you, all my male subscribers that always give me feedback. I also have you, okay? It's not just about females. So if you're evaluating your last relationships and you're actually finding out that there's the same trait, which is you're being abused, it's important for you to also understand why, okay? It's not enough to just blame the people who are abusing us. At some point, you have to stop and ask yourself a question. Wait, why is it that we keep attracting these people to come into our life, to take advantage of us, to abuse us and make us feel like we're nothing? What is it that I'm doing wrong? Obviously, you don't deserve to be treated like that. Obviously, nobody deserves to be abused by any other human being. That's clear. Could it be that you're coming across very insecure? Could it be that you're coming across very, very desperate? Could it be that you're coming across very needy? Could it be that you're just very naive? Like, what is it about you that's always making you end up with people that are coming into your life to abuse you? You can ask me, what's the point of me knowing what I'm doing wrong? I don't deserve to be treated like that anyway. It's important for you to know what you're doing wrong in order for you to know what to do to stop this cycle. If you don't know what it is that you're doing wrong or what it is about you that's attracting all these people come into your life, you're going to continue the same cycle. But I pray in Jesus' name that after this, you're not going to continue the same cycle, because you deserve to be with somebody who loves and respects you. So what am I saying? Am I saying that you're single right now because you've not healed from your abusive relationships in the past? Absolutely, yes. You're probably single right now because you are tired of ending up with people who are taking advantage of you. You're tired of people abusing you physically, mentally, emotionally. You're tired of being treated like you're no one. You're frustrated. You're exhausted. You're just sick of it. So you've now found yourself in a predicament where you're like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm just tired of feeling so exhausted every time I'm in a relationship. I'm tired because I keep experiencing the opposite of what my friends are experiencing. Everyone seems to be happy in their relationship. I'm tired of being the only one that's always crying. I'm tired of being the only one that's always complaining. So you're like, you know what? I'm just going to be single. Now, that's not a solution, because at the end of the day, you will get to some place in your life where you feel like, okay, let me try this again. The solution is for you to actually heal and understand what you're doing wrong so that you're not going to make those mistakes again. Understand what went wrong so you can fix up, so you can break this cycle, or you can break this generational curse, if it's a generational curse, and come out and be free. The first thing that you need to do, like I said, is to understand what you're doing to contribute to the pattern of ending up with these people in your life. You have to sit down, evaluate yourself, lock yourself in a room, bring a pen and a paper, think about your past relationship and how you've been. Like, what is it that you think you did wrong? What is it that you think is inside of you that keep attracting these people? Once you understand this pattern, then you have your disease and you are ready to find a cure for it. After you figure this out, you might come and ask me, okay, Serge, I've identified the patterns and what it is that I'm doing wrong. Now, how can I heal? How do I come out of this cycle? What's the cure for this disease of mine? Before I continue, there's a disclaimer. I'm not an expert, okay? But I've been there, I've done that, and I can only share what I did. So a quick background. When I was in this abusive relationship, just like any other victim, I would not open up to people and tell them what was really going on in that relationship. I really kept it low. Like, I've got a scar on my face right there. I wear makeup and you can't see it. But yo, that relationship was crazy. Like, woo, it was crazy. It was crazy. Like, I'm just thinking about some stuff that I've gone through. I'm thinking about the certain things that I even had to block so that I don't think about it, because it just made me look at myself like, damn, girl, how can you let another human being treat you like that? I didn't tell people what I was experiencing. I was painting a perfect picture of this person. Anybody that knew them respected them. They loved them, because I was just like, this is an amazing guy. I never ever spoke bad of him. I never ever shared what he used to do to me. I didn't say nothing to anybody. However, God is such an amazing God. He's such a loving Father that sometimes he will bring people around us to help us and tell us, yo, there's something wrong. This is not normal. And if you're watching me right now and you're experiencing the same thing, or you've experienced the same thing, you know what I'm talking about. That there was that one person that kept telling you, girl, I don't think this is healthy. I'm not really sure. God always sends people around us, but it's not always easy to listen to them in the beginning, because you're in that bubble, because you've already been crushed and you just feel so down. And sometimes when you're crushed and you're in an abusive relationship, it's like, I stayed. The reason why I stayed was because I didn't have a high self-esteem anymore. So I was basically thinking to myself, I'm not good enough. He's the best for me. He's the best thing that I can have, because that's what I deserve. That's what I used to tell myself. Because of that, there was no need for me to share. And even when I will hear someone tell me that you don't deserve this, to me, I'm like, well, you don't know. I deserve everything I'm getting, because I'm not good enough. But thank God, because he's such a loving God. In my case, I remember it got so bad, and we got to a place where he will now control my movement, where I'm going, what I'm doing, who I'm going out with, what time I should come back, what time I should go, how long I should stay, how many times I should call when I'm out. And I remember it even stretched out to church. He then started stopping me from going to church. Like, if you know me, I'm a church girl. Like, I love God. Like, God comes first. God is my daddy. He's been my daddy. I mean, we have an amazing relationship. So that relationship even affected my relationship with God. And that's one thing in my life that I will never allow anyone touch. But for you to see how deep in I was in this relationship and how seriously I was abused, it affected my relationship with God. I was far away from God. And I remember he had an issue with me going to like 2 services, you know, on Sundays, or even when we will have like prayer and fasting month going on and, you know, going to church every day. He used to be like, no, I've been at your church. I've heard stuff about your church. There's a lot of guys there that take advantage of women. I don't want you going to that church all the time, because, you know, you're going to end up with them. It's just like, now that I think about it, I'm just thinking, like, how stupid is that? Like, if you're with somebody, you have to trust the person that you're with to be able to handle themselves, even if they find themselves in like a compromising situation. But this guy was like, no, he had to be in control. He didn't want me to go to my church. He was like, nah, I don't want these men to see you. I don't want you to spend so much time with them. So basically what would happen is I would go to like the first service. Church used to finish around 1 o'clock. At 12:50, this guy's outside waiting for me. After service, I can't talk to anybody. I can't greet any uncle. I can't greet any brother. At literally 12:50, he's outside. As soon as they say the grace and amen, I'm out, because he was waiting for me outside. So anyways, my angel from God, my mother, she noticed this, and it was just like, every time we had an event at church, anytime we had something going on at church, I'd be like, no, I can't come. Outside of Sunday, you will hardly see me at church. Any other program during the week, any other prayer and fasting, you will not see me there, because he will not allow me. So my mom started praying. My mom was praying, and she was just like, no, this is not normal. She will ask me questions. She will challenge me. She'll be like, Sergine, this is not normal. And I'll be like, you know, I have to spend time with him, and he will be so upset. You know, this is the time that we spend quality time together. He'll be very upset if I don't spend it with him. Like, I was giving her all sorts of excuses. My mom wasn't having it. She was not having it. She was just like, nah. She started praying, and she was praying for me. Obviously, I found out later, because at that time, I didn't know she was actually praying about it. But I think it got to her, and God just opened her eyes, and she was like, nah, this is not normal. That's why it's important to also pay attention to the people around you, especially those who love you and those that you know that have your best interest at heart. Sometimes you need to listen to them. But I do understand that when you're in an abusive relationship, you don't see, because you're in that bubble. But thank God for me, my mom prayed, and to cut the long story short, that relationship ended. I strongly believe that her prayers helped God open my eyes to see what was really happening. Because when my eyes were open, I was just like, what? And the moment I realized how much rubbish I took and how I was treated, I was so ashamed. I was so embarrassed. Like every time I would speak to people, and especially when I realized I was in an abusive relationship, every time I hear someone share, I was so embarrassed. I was like, I wanted to pretend that this didn't happen to me. I really tried my best to block it out and to just put a wall so that I don't have to deal with the painful fact of being with someone that treated me that way. And don't forget, not only was I dealing with the fact that I ended up with that person, but I also had so many things that I endured during that relationship. The beating that I got in the relationship, the slaps, the fights, the pushing. I was thinking, wow, like, wow, this is really my life. This is what I went through. I don't want to identify to anyone like that. I was so embarrassed. But you know what? I want to encourage you to not be embarrassed. Yes, it happened. Yes, you experienced that. But the first step for you to heal is to accept that it happened to you, whether you like it or not. If you don't heal, you're going to continue the same cycle. You're going to probably end up with the same person and you're going to end up being single again. So it's very, very important for you to understand that, own it, it's your truth. You don't have to say it to the whole world. You don't have to share your story like I'm sharing mine. You can keep yours, but you need to own it. You need to accept it. Do not rush into another relationship right now. Look, if you're watching this and you just came out of an abusive relationship, do yourself a favor to not get into another relationship right now. That is not what you need, okay? That's the biggest mistake you can make, and that is probably why you're single, because what you keep doing is jumping from one relationship to another. What I did was pray. Thank God I have a prayerful mother. She's always praying for me. She's always praying for all her children. So I believe her prayers helped. And I also believe that my prayers helped. Honestly, when I came out of that relationship, oh boy, I was praying, you know, and I was just asking God to heal me. I remember I was praying so much and I was so desperate for the healing because, guys, I was damaged. I can't lie. I can't lie. There's a lot of things that this guy did. Ooh. I can't even go into it. So I really needed healing. And I actually remember there was a day where I used to wear this chain that he got for me. And there was a day where, I was holding on to that chain. I was holding on to it. That's why, guys, if you've got anything from that past relationship, flush it down the toilet, let it go. Anything that is reminding you of this relationship in your house right now, just let it go. I remember I used to have this chain that I was wearing. It was from him. Honestly speaking, I genuinely liked the chain. I was praying so hard, and I went to church one day and my pastor was praying for people who were holding on to, objects from a past relationship, and God wanted to heal them. He actually called me to the front. Well, he called everybody who was holding on to something. So I went up to the front. As he was praying, he actually prayed for me personally. He took that chain and he actually, turned me around and said that, what, God is setting you free. So I was really, really praying about it. And I was doing some stuff along the way as well. I was speaking and, speaking up every time I fell down, every time I felt like I didn't understand what happened to me. I couldn't make sense of what happened to me. I would speak about it. So that's what I did. But don't worry, I've got a few other stuff that you can do to help you come out of that state, to help you heal and find yourself again. First thing, remember, God first. God always comes first. He's the first one that's going to heal you. He's the first one that's going to even prepare your mind to get to that place where you're like, okay, I'm ready to heal now. But it's a two-way thing. You also have a responsibility to put some things in place, to do certain things that will help you come out of that state and heal, so that you don't end up with the same people, so you don't end up in that cycle or continuing that cycle. After you've prayed and you've prepared your mind and you're ready, I'm going to advise you to seek some professional help. Okay, even if you don't have money, just find like a support group or somewhere where you can go to and talk to people. Listen, there's power in sharing stories. Sometimes when we're going through hard times, we feel more lonely and we feel more down because we feel like we're alone. When you listen to other people's stories, it's like, not only do you relate and feel like, okay, I'm not alone, and that makes you feel better, you actually find out that some people went through worse than what you experienced. So then you become a bit more appreciative of your situation. I know you know, you're still abused. I'm not saying that, you know, you should be happy, but sometimes when you find out that other people went through worse, other people lost children, other people, you know, lost their legs in the process, once you find out that other people experienced the worst thing, it helps you and it makes you feel better. So definitely, I'm going to suggest that you find a support group in your community, if not even at your church. If you don't even have a community, like friends, people that you trust. Honestly, opening up and speaking really helped me, because every time I opened up, I was made feel like it's all right. There was nothing wrong with you. Somebody took advantage of you. Just the fact that somebody else could tell me that there was nothing wrong with me, it really helped, because there's actually nothing wrong with you. You need to constantly hear that to help you so that you don't feel like you're crazy. The next thing that I'm going to suggest you do is you need to cut the abuser out of your life. Should I repeat it? You need to cut the abuser out of your life. Literally, flush them down the toilet. This is what you need to do. You need to cut them out of your life. By that, I mean, don't check their social media. Delete them off your social media. Block them on Instagram. Block them on Facebook, Snapchat. Block their number. Block everything. Any object that you have that belongs to them, flush it down the toilet. Give it to the charity. Like anything around you that reminds you of them. Even relationships. If you guys have friends in common, cut those friends out. Yeah, cut them out. Anything that is reminding you of him, let it go. Like I said, I had a chain. I was wearing that chain, but I had to let it go. I loved it. It looked nice. I really liked the chain, but it had to go, because my sanity, your sanity, is more important than that object. It doesn't matter how nice it is. It doesn't matter what memory that object has. At the end of the day, you're no longer with that person. So why are you cherishing the memory? Let it go. You don't need it. This is similar to someone who's struggling from drug abuse. Why do you think they have to go to rehab? Because they need to change environments. They need to move from an environment that reminds them of doing the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing with you. What makes you think that you're going to heal if you're still checking his social media every day? You're going on Instagram, stalking him. You've become an expert in stalking now. You can stalk. Like, what makes you think that your healing is going to come when you're still in contact with that person? You need rehab. Anything that reminds you of that poison, anything that reminds you of that drug, you cut it off. Yeah? You cut it off. Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, hey, cut it. We need to cut them off. The next thing I'm going to suggest you do is that you need to focus on your interest and your healing. Now, what do I mean by that? It's time to think of you. It's time to give your life a meaning, because you are enough by yourself. It's time for you to develop other interests, because when you're in an abusive relationship, there's so many things that you want to do, but you can't do it. I had to reduce the amount of gigs I was saying yes to. I couldn't go out with my friends. I couldn't do things that I wanted to do because my life was all about him. This is the time for you to think about you, for you to remember, before this relationship, who was I? What did I want? What was my interest? Focus on your interest and healing. What do I need to heal? Do I need God? Do I need to speak to someone? Do I need to delete pictures? What do I require? What would help me move on to the next stage of my life and leave this horrible past behind me? It's time for you to focus on the things that are of your interest, things that will help you find that healing. The next thing I'm going to suggest you do, this one is a big one. You need to learn how to develop self-compassion. What do I mean by this? First of all, the first feeling that I felt when I came out of this abusive relationship was blame. I was blaming myself. I was like, how can I end up with someone like that? I have no confidence. I'm not strong. I am naive. I used to think everything of myself, all sorts. How can someone in the right frame of mind end up with someone that's going to treat them like that? I was like, I'm so like ill, like I'm disgusting. That's one thing that I felt when I came out of that relationship. Another thing is that when you're in an abusive relationship, you hear a lot of negativity. When you're in an abusive relationship, you hear a lot of negative things. Like this abuser of yours will tell you stuff like, you're not good enough, you're rubbish, you're not on my level, I can do much better than you, nobody would want to be with you anyway. You hear all of this and you begin to believe it. You begin to normalize it. You begin to see yourself as, yeah, I'm not good enough, so the best thing for me is to be with this person. You begin to believe these things. So it's important for you to develop self-compassion for yourself, for you to not blame yourself, for you to know that it wasn't your fault. It's important for you to get to the place whereby you can, ask yourself, who am I again? Remind yourself, before I heard all these negative things, who was I? How did I see myself? When I looked in the mirror, what did I see? Who did I see? You need to remind yourself, and you need to tell yourself, it's okay, babe. You made a mistake. It's fine. We all make mistakes. It's okay. You need to tell yourself, you know what, girl, you are strong. I love you, girl. You need to develop self-compassion for yourself. Just like you feel sorry for other people that make mistakes, you need to develop that for yourself. Not for you to become a victim and stay in that negative space, but for you to just encourage yourself, for you to tell yourself that it's okay. I made that mistake, but I'm a human being. I've learned from that. I'm never going to make that mistake again. Tell yourself stuff like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're talented, you're blessed and highly favored. Tell yourself what the word of God says that you are. That's what you need to do. You need to develop self-compassion. Don't be too harsh on yourself. Same way other people make mistakes, it's the same way you made a mistake. So it's important for you to develop that and start to look at yourself as somebody who's deserving of love, somebody who's deserving of attention, somebody who's deserving of kindness. And be kind to yourself. Don't wait for another person to be kind. Be kind to yourself and tell yourself kind words because you deserve it. The next thing I'm going to suggest is that you need to make a transition from thinking of yourself as a victim to a survivor. I know the way you were treated wasn't fair. You were treated like you're nothing. You were beaten up. You were just abused. I understand. And it's important, like I said before, for you to own that, for you to know that, okay, this happened to me. But the most important thing is for you not to know that and stay in that place and in that mind frame. Is for you to then say, okay, that happened to me before, but now I have control. Now I can control what happens to me. Now I can decide who I end up with, and I'm going to make the right choice to decide that I'm not going to be with someone who's going to abuse me. It's so important. Look at yourself as a survivor. Don't look at yourself as a victim, because you are not a victim. Yes, it happened to you, but you're not a victim. You're not going to stay there for life. You're not going to be like that for life. You're not going to end up being with the same people that are going to abuse you for life. You're a survivor. You're going to learn from this situation and you're going to come out strong. You have the power to choose how to respond to this situation and move on. The power is in your hand. It's how you look at yourself now. Are you a victim or are you a survivor? Because a victim is someone who's sitting in that position and complaining, saying things, this happened to me, and crying. But a survivor is somebody who tells himself, yes, this happened to me, but I conquered. This happened to me, I came out strong. This happened to me, but I learned lessons, valuable lessons that I'm never going to forget for the rest of my life. Valuable lessons that are going to help me not make this terrible mistake that I made. See yourself as a survivor. See yourself as a warrior. See yourself as someone who's capable of dealing with anything in life and come out strong. And not throw away the lesson that they gained through that experience. See yourself as a learner, as someone who learns from mistakes, as someone who learns from experiences. You're not a victim. You're a survivor. And if you don't believe that about yourself, I'm telling you today, you are a survivor. God wants you to know that you are a survivor. The word of God says, anything that the devil meant for evil, God turned it around for my good. Do you know what that means? That means that you can be abused. You can be in an abusive relationship. Something that could have broken you. Something that could have sent you to an early grave. But God is saying, no, that's going to be a lesson. You're going to learn from that. Because you're going to be that one person that's going to help the world not end up with people who are abusing them. You're going to be someone that's going to share a testimony that's going to encourage millions of people. Yeah, the devil meant it for evil. The devil wanted you to be with that person so that you can become the most insecure person on earth. But God is saying, no, you're going to be a testimony. You're going to be an example for people who are dealing with that situation right now. They will look at you and be like, if she did it, I can do it too. So you are not a victim. You are a warrior. You are a survivor. You are a strong person. You are strong. You are brave. You are wise. Because you're never going to make that mistake again. And because of that experience, you are a better version of yourself. I am a better version of myself. I pay close attention to, relationship, any relationship when I'm talking to people, because I've learned from the past. I'm a better version of myself, and you have that power, and you can be the better version of yourself. It can start today. You just have to decide. You need to decide how you're going to learn from this situation. You need to decide on how you're going to respond to this situation. Are you going to be a victim? Are you going to sit down at home crying every night over somebody who does not deserve that? Or are you going to say, no, yeah, you went through that. Get up. There's something better waiting for you. You have that power. You can decide what happens to you from now on. Don't choose to be a victim. Choose to be a survivor. Another important thing why you need to heal. This could be a generational curse. I mean, if you look at your family, you can probably realize that, most of the females in your family end up with people who abuse them, or your mother did, or your father did. There's a video on generational curses being the reason why you're single. I'm going to put a link up here so you can go and check that out after you watch this video. But if that's the case, you need to heal because you need to break that generational curse. Maybe you're going to be the first person in your family that's going to break that generational curse. Or perhaps you're the first person that was about to start that trend in your family. So you need to heal so that that does not continue, so that the generation that comes after you don't suffer from that. So it's very important for you to heal. It's very important for you to put that time aside and heal before you jump into any other relationship, because you don't want to continue that generational curse. Neither do you want to be the one that starts it. So it's important for you to do that right now so that you can heal, so that generational curse stops from you. I read something on social media which I found very interesting as I was preparing for this series. It said, heal before having your children so they don't have to heal from having you as a parent. And this made me think, some of you right now, you're even in that relationship and you're being abused, or you just haven't healed and you're about to go into another relationship. Now, if you end up in that relationship having children, your children are going to suffer from the choices that you made by choosing not to heal. So it's very important that you choose right now. It's very important that you choose to heal before you can move on into any other relationship, because you don't want the generation that comes after you to suffer from one silly mistake that you made. God is giving you time to heal. Utilize that time and heal. You are single because you are extremely picky. I'm not in any way, shape or form trying to say that you should not have a type. I've heard stuff like, I want a guy to be successful. I want him to have a house, to have a car, to have it all together. My question to you is, what do you bring to the table? Do you have all the qualities that a rich man that you wish to have requires in a woman? No, I'm not saying you shouldn't have expectations, but they have to be realistic. Some of you people here, you're talking about having all these criteria, but you're too lazy to work on yourself. You can't be telling people that you need to be like this, you have to bring this to the table, you have to be rich. No, you do the same. You do the work that you need to do. Why do you need him to be rich for? To provide for you? Start by providing for yourself. You think a guy is sitting there working hard to become this successful person for him to want a lazy woman? So you sit there, keep waiting for that successful guy to come when you're not doing the work that you're supposed to do. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please give me a thumbs up if you did. And I'm going to encourage you this week to please make sure that you start your healing process before jumping into another relationship. And don't forget to include God in your healing process, because he's the one that's going to help you. He's going to direct you to make the right choices that will help you into becoming the best person that he has created you to be. So don't forget, just like my t-shirt says, if not now, then when? It's time. It's time for you to heal right now. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget, this year is still your year of shining. We're going to shine in every area of our lives. Even though we're home, we're going to grab any opportunity that we get. We're going to be creative at home. Coronavirus will not take us away from what God has planned for us. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to follow me on my social media platforms so we can keep in contact. And I pray that God will help you through your healing process. I'm going to sign up for now. I will see you in my next video. Take care and God bless. Bye.